What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Besties podcast right here on the Razzball YouTube channel. Obviously, thank you as always to Razzball for hosting us all season long through week 18 right here on the YouTube channel. Definitely check out that YouTube page. A lot of good quality content over there. Check out the Fantasy Besties Twitter at Fantasy Besties. You guessed it. And definitely check out the rest of the besties. We almost have all 5 besties here today. And Linda still might be joining us because, she might make one of her appearances. I know she's still getting over her sickness that kept her out of the last show, but she is trying to rally and get back on here. So hopefully we'll be joined by her later. But we do have Jordan Loop. We do have Kevin Tompkins. And we do have Andrew Cooper. What's up, folks?
My cholesterol.
What's good, boys? How we doing?
Honest.
I mean, we're all getting old here, Kev. So
dude, how did you get an emoji in your name on there? I've never seen that. I need it now.
King shit.
That's why I didn't respond. I was trying to figure out which emoji I want to do. I think I'm gonna do that one. Yeah.
Football. There you go.
Oh, all right, dude. Okay. Luke, how are you doing, dude?
Man, I'm all right. No emoji for me though, so
Boo.
can't be doing that good, huh?
Not in this economy.
I chose not to go emoji. I went swag Kazakage here for our friend Jamal Williams. So after that intro yesterday, I'm sure a lot of people that are tuning in here saw that intro. Man, isn't Jamal Williams just the most fun guy in this league? Like, he might not be the best player. He might lead the league in touchdowns, but he is a heck of a fun dude, isn't he?
Oh, my very favorite.
He's like at least top 2, 3.
What a character. Like, I'd want to just hang out with him, although I think that he'd want to play video games and watch Narutos and stuff that I know nothing about. So I don't know how much fun we'd have, but I'd laugh.
I'd be down to learn, though. You know what I mean? I'm down to get involved.
Dude would want to play like Lego Harry Potter, and JB would just dip.
Yeah,
immediately.
I'd be like, yeah.
Without knowing how dope those games are, dude. We got some folks in the chat, dude. Toronto Dave, Mr. Scampers in the house. Yeah. Let's go, dude.
Yes. And guys, I'd be remiss if I didn't start by giving a shout out to Damar Hamlin, because last time we were on this show, it was before that Monday Night Football game. Luke, Kev, and I were on. Luke had to run. Kev and I closed the show. We talked about looking forward to the game, what we were looking for in a fantasy standpoint. And obviously, we all saw what happened. Fantasy went aside. We worried about Damar Hamlin's health. We worried about, what we saw on the field being a unprecedented, scary moment in time that none of us have really ever seen. We hoped for the best. We didn't know for a while. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was up all night just trying to watch and wait for updates and hope that, they would give us some good news, because we saw what happened. I mean, the man had to be resuscitated on the field. It gave me vibes of Christian Eriksen when I watched that soccer game, what was it, 2 years ago now, when he collapsed on the field and they had to revive him on the field, and it was really scary. And that's all I kept hanging on to that night was, well, Eriksen came back, and now he was on the pitch playing in this last tournament. So, like, let's hope that happens for Damar Hamlin. Let's hope that, he recovers from this. He gets back on the field. And, guys, we got some really good news these last couple of days. He was recovering. He was tweeting. He was sending out pictures. And then he left the hospital today. Damar Hospital left the hospital, as Field Yates said earlier today. So it was great news. It was super encouraging. And it was great to see him trending in the right direction. And now we can hope for that comeback. Now we can hope for that outcome. So shout out to Damar Hamlin. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything to that, but we had to start the show with a little shout out to him for showing us that heart and the perseverance.
Yeah, you crushed it, man. Yeah, that was exactly it. It was like, I just love seeing around the league everybody step up. It was very cool. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's how I'm going to start my first down today, guys, because what my favorite thing I saw yesterday was not only how they did it around the league, but in that particular game, right? So we saw the tribute. We saw his big picture on the screen. Then they returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Just an exciting, emotional time right there in that Buffalo Stadium. But what I loved the most was John Brown. And yes, Scampers, the medical staff, because John Brown, after he scored his touchdown, went and handed the ball to Denny Kellington, who is the assistant trainer on the Bills, who performed that life-saving CPR on Damar Hamlin. And John Brown went over and gave him the touchdown ball. And that was the favorite thing that I saw, because so many people, yes, they'll mention, thank you to the medical staff at the hospital and to everybody that was, attentive. But this man, the assistant trainer, Denny Kellington, was the one who went out and performed that life-saving CPR. And John Brown went over and gave him the touchdown ball. So that was my favorite thing I saw yesterday. What about you, Coop?
I'm just glad. I'm so glad that they didn't call that super obvious holding penalty on that kickoff. So we got to have that moment. That was fantastic.
You still salty, Coop?
That was fate.
Deserve to be in the playoffs.
That was fate. It was a blessing.
I don't know.
I talked about it on the morning show today, the Front Yard Fantasy morning show. But like the Patriots, Jake Bailey does the kickoffs for them. He's hurt and now suspended. And look what happens when you don't have a guy that can kick it out the back of the end zone when you need somebody to do that. 2 kick returns, a kick out of bounds that gets marked at the 40. Can't be doing that. That was the difference maker in the game, right? So way she goes. I'm not too concerned about it.
I think my wife was watching the highlight of it, and she's like, I think they let him score. I'm like, they wouldn't let him score. They're fighting for the playoffs. She's like, but look at them. They're not even trying to tackle him. They're just running alongside him. And if you watch the replay, it does look like 2 of the dudes were just kind of like trying to race him to the end zone. It was pretty funny looking.
They definitely didn't let him score. I'll tell you that, dude. They let him score a while ago when they suspended Jake Bailey. I'll change my emoji to a salt emoji.
There it is. Perfect.
I'm wearing a Celtic. It's already moved on to the Celtics and Bruins.
Right. Coop's gonna be wearing a Rebs jersey next week.
Yeah, dude. Revs are hot, bro.
So
the Revs goalie is the goalie for the World Cup team. Never forget it, dude. Star.
Yeah. Look at that. Like anybody cares about.
Everyone cares. Dude.
Unreal football. So Patriots definitely weren't your favorite thing, Coop. What was the favorite thing you saw?
So you actually already brought it up, and it's Jamal Williams, man. He's my favorite every time I see him. And just to see guys like that are good guys doing the right thing and earning that role and being a leader on the team and also having it translate on the field. Like sometimes you have guys that are just leaders. Sometimes you have guys that are just good, but they're not leaders. This guy this year, from Hard Knocks all the way through, proved that he's the man. And they love that guy. I love that guy. I'm kind of torn because I want him to be back on the Lions, but I also want him to get signed by whatever team has HBO Hard Knocks this year. Like, I just need more Jamal Williams all the time, man. And he did a true man, like they say, like, real men wear pink, right? A true man is a guy like him that is willing to always say whatever he truly feels. He likes anime. He doesn't care. He's willing. His grandfather died. It's sad. He's willing to wear his emotions on his sleeve. And he'll tell you he's a dog because he truly believes that. So I love that. You know what I mean? No sugarcoating any of it. No, no pretending to be something else. So Jamal Williams, awesome.
And that emotion that you talked about, that interview post game where he talked about his grandfather and you could see the emotion and fighting back the tears, and then flipped it right over to, and we the Lions, and people try to write us off, but you better believe it.
We the Detroit Lions. There's always old dogs around this mug. That's what he said. I was like, damn, bro. Hell yeah, dude. Golly, right? So give me Luke, give me a golly.
Golly.
So I mean, my hey, who could use somebody like Jamal Williams hanging around? And Kev, I imagine you would agree with this. Quay Walker could use a guy like Jamal Williams, a guy who knows how to behave like a man, who knows how to control his emotions, or at least know when to get emotional at the right time. Like Jamal Williams used to be on the Packers, and somebody on that team needs to step up and talk to that young man, because this is the second time he's been ejected this year. And Kev, I mean, unacceptable, right?
Yeah, considering the strides we've made with trying to recognize the medical staffs with everything involving Damar Hamlin, and then this kind of sets everything back even further, it feels like. So, you know what? Jamal Williams a free agent. Aaron Jones is set to make like 18-20 million against the cap next year. He might be a cap casualty. Green Bay might have an opening in that running back room to bring back Jamal Williams.
That would be wild. They drafted Jamal Williams in this They drafted Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones in the same draft, and they drafted
And
Jamal
Devontae
Williams.
Mays, by the way.
Oh,
3 running backs in like the
never
4th and 5th
forget.
round.
Never forget Devontae Mays. But they drafted him. They drafted Jamal Williams the round before Aaron Jones.
Yep. And now he might come back full circle to replace him. Look at that.
Leads the league in touchdowns, dude. Why not?
Yep.
Star, stud, horse, hoss.
Generations LeGarrette Blunt.
He's a star, stud, horse, hoss. What more can we say?
Touchdown regression. We're gonna say it for the next 6 months, but
How dare you? Dude?
I know.
dare you?
I think I have a feeling. Green screens. What's up? I think I have a feeling what Loop is gonna say for his first down. So we're gonna save it, Loop. We're gonna save it, and we're gonna go to our King's Classic auction champion, Mr. Kevin Tompkins. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Had to wait for the official word from Bob Long on that, but we did it. Send in the Barack Obama. We got him. So definitely fun stuff. That actually was not my favorite thing I saw this week. My favorite thing was that week 18 is over because it basically was preseason. It was like the second week of preseason through this entire slate of games. It seemed like there were like 3 games that mattered, and then the rest were just, I mean, come on, that Dolphins Jets game, 11-6. What was the other one that was like Carolina and New Orleans was just bad football? Like, and they want to not add another week to football in the regular season. Like, it was just disgusting.
More football.
And we'll watch it because we're all gluttons for punishment. That's the thing. So, I mean, we will watch. We would rather watch Jacksonville and Tennessee in week 19 than go to therapy.
I made a DFS lineup for the Hall of Fame game.
Nice.
I'll make one tomorrow.
Kev, I will say that there were some pretty bad games, but there were some exciting games. You know, we just saw last night a game with everything on the line. We saw 2 teams leaving it out there. We saw even at the 4:00 game, it was an ugly game, but that Seattle Rams game actually had something to play for, and we saw a close game. What I did like about week 18 was more attempts at offense because there were so many teams that just said, F it. We're out of this. We're going for it on 4th and 6 every single time. Like, it doesn't matter. We're not punting. Punter, have a seat. So, like, that gave us more offense, or at least attempts at offense. But, yeah, I agree with you, man. It was a sloppy week.
Well, maybe they should have been going it for it on 4th down more often in weeks 1 through 17, and maybe they wouldn't be in that position. Those damn analytics.
Well, there was an analytic coach that made the playoffs, Mr. Loop. Was that your favorite thing that you saw this week?
I have to say that it was to get the Dolphins in there. It's been a while, and I can't even believe that we were even in the situation that we were having to get help in week 18, considering that Dolphins started 8-3. It's been a rough about 6 weeks or so here, but it was nice to see them get there. They're probably going to get destroyed by the team of destiny now in the Buffalo Bills, but it's it's just it's nice to see Skylar Thompson as well, because it's not Tua, it's not even Teddy Bridgewater. We have a guy that's a 7th round pick, and Brock Purdy has spoiled everyone to think, oh, well, you're a 7th round pick. You just come in and you have a Super Bowl favorite team. It's not that easy. So, even though it was an ugly game, they did enough. Skylar Thompson did enough to get him through there against the Jets. So
I just want to see a Skylar Thompson completion to Tanner Connor, tight end Tanner Connor, so we can get a completion between the 2 whitest names in the entire league.
Wow. Shade on Seath and shade on River Craycraft, by the way.
shade on Alexander Madison.
I almost threw out a Seath and Carter.
Yeah, but Tanner Connor, Skylar Thompson and Tanner Connor. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on now.
It's pretty good stuff.
Hey, that's
But
my
you had,
Dynasty QB3, Loop. That's my guy. You know that.
Well, congrats, man. I'm,
So
I don't-
high. So high.
After that 9-point performance yesterday, you got to
putting them
now-
on the block right now.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you right now, Loop, I want to ask your opinion on this. Mike McDaniel, his comments, they asked him about injuries this week, and he was like, "It's the playoffs, so you just kind of got to go YOLO." Do you think that's a message, and anyone in particular, whether they should try and play this week or not?
No, I don't. I don't think that that they're playing around with that as far as Tua's concussions. So if he does not play, then it's going to be very, very difficult to go in and even be competitive against the Bills.
Yeah.
If he does play, we'll see. It will depend on, what he looks like. If he really is ready to go, if he's been able to practice and prepare the way that you need to go into Buffalo in January and try to win a playoff game. So, the outlook isn't great for this week, but we're just we're happy to be in. So
Now,
we're happy that
if-
the Patriots are not.
If Tua is out, is Freddie Bridgewater on the table still, or is he out
Jay
too?
Fiedler,
He
Hey, he went to my high school, Kev.
right?
Jay Feely.
Good times, man.
Is Teddy?
But,
is Teddy? Is he practicing? Like, what's going on with him?
Yeah, so he was dressed out and he was the backup yesterday. So I guess in an emergency, he would have been able to come in. Now, whether they trust him to start, I guess will depend on the feel throughout the week, and obviously on Tua's situation as well. So I think there's a lot up in the air, and I don't know that we'll know the starter until a lot closer to game time.
I'd say a playoff game against Buffalo is an emergency. Just saying.
Here comes Jay Cutler. Let's go.
Oh yeah, stick him out there at wide receiver and just watch the
Yeah.
effort.
That grit, that effort, just standing there. That was
Playing every play like his last, man. It's great.
Yeah, look, if Tua can't go, I agree. I think you guys, get smoked and you hang your hat on just happy to be here, and let's look towards next year. So hopefully
That
Tua
playoff
plays
game
because
shot.
We are.
we like to see some competitive football in the playoffs. So hopefully Tua does play and we get a good football game, right? That's all we can hope for. We need to look at playoff fantasy football, though, because that's what we are here, guys. We're a fantasy football show. And there's a lot of different ways. Just because the NFL season ended and we went to the playoffs, it doesn't mean fantasy season ends. Your regular season-long fantasy league could have ended, but there's different ways that you can keep playing fantasy football. We're going to talk about some of them today because, lucky for us, two of our besties are writing articles on the different types of playoff fantasy football. Kev's dropped today. Coop, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think yours drops tomorrow.
I don't know.
Something like that. But we could talk about the different formats that we could play playoff fantasy football, talk a little bit about the strategy. So that way people have an idea of, hey, how can I keep going in this? Kev, get us started because your article dropped today. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the FFPC playoff challenge and then also the accompanied football guys playoff challenge. There's 14 playoff teams, but you're setting a lineup with only 12 players. So you're fully fading two of the playoff teams with players. You put only one player per team, and once you set your lineup, once it locks, that's it. You're no other lineup changes or anything. Your guys are your guys, and hope for the best. I cashed in the football guys playoff challenge last year. Was winning the entire thing after the first week, and then Bills Chiefs happened and screwed that up. So, but yeah, so it's typical. If you're familiar with FFPC, it's tight end premium, 4-point touchdowns, and you get 4 flexes, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, tight end, kicker, defense. It's just really a lot of planning. Like you should be doing. At least mapping out the playoffs. I believe the Fantasy Footballers put out a bracket site today, myplayoffpicks.com, where you can just click and do your playoff bracket. And that's going to help you at least set up, what you think is going to happen because you want the most players playing the most games. Like if you, use, just for Trevor Lawrence, just for an example, and they get bounced by the Chargers, well, quarterback played 1 game and you're kind of done.
Yep.
So if you can kind of be a little more cognizant of who's going to be playing the 4 games. Like last year, not a lot of people picked the Rams to go from wild card weekend to the Super Bowl, but a lot of people played Cooper Kupp. I believe 90% of the field played Cooper Kupp in that format. So it pays to be a little bit contrarian, but you don't want to go off the reservation and play like Van Jefferson or anything like that. So It's a lot of I think this is, to me, my personal opinion, I think it's the most fun playoff format because there's so much strategy involved. Coop wrote the article on that last year. He can certainly talk a bit about that too, but yeah, I just love like the game theory and the strategy of that whole playoff challenge.
Yeah. First, I see scampers in the chat saying, "Coop, could you ease up on the hard seltzers?" Not hard seltzers today. This is a regular seltzer, so you can hang out guilt free, my man. This is every year after we used to do this weight loss challenge called the Big Chungus Challenge. It's like a 6-week thing where it's like great name, right? It's like a weight loss thing. We don't do it anymore, but I still do it myself. So I do like a little break, no drinking, none of that for a little bit. So just crushing Celsius, chilling with the boys, you know.
So wait, why didn't we do it? Why didn't you invite your fat friend to do a weight loss challenge? Like, what the
invited you every year. Invited you every single year, dude. So you can go back through the text every single year. Each one of you guys are invited, and I mention it on the show every year as well. So please,
Coop, is that the one where?
So I'm living guilt free.
Is that the one where you go through and you only have a certain number of calories and whatnot, and you go through and you pick the largest shaped like animal cracker to eat because
yeah,
to get the most out of it? Yeah,
I know exactly. I know exactly the which animal crackers have the most heft to them.
Now, which ones are those for our listeners at home?
Got to be the elephant. No?
The elephants are hippo. Yeah, though you want the rounder ones, like
you want the giraffe.
Giraffes can get smoked. By the time you get to the end of my bag, it's all just bits of giraffes because they're always breaking. Like you never get a full
so
giraffe.
Thin, you get
like any of the ones. Yeah, so you got to be careful because when you're counting, it's like it says, you can eat 10 animal crackers. So you're not going to pick half a giraffe. You outside of your mind? You kidding me? So yeah, so that's what's going on over here, dude. Soft seltzers, just chilling, dude. And yeah, so Kev. I'm fully on board with that. So there's kind of two different kinds of playoff leagues. There's the one that Kev's talking about. The article that I'm going to write, I'm not even sure if I'm writing an article, but I might write an article on the one and done leagues, like Baby Bowl, for instance. Rob Norton runs it, does a good job. You should join it. It's for a good cause. It's for a good time. I won the regular season championship last year because I'm awesome at it.
Last year. Old news. Me and Kev placed in the top 7 this year. So
what do you get for placing like 7 or 6 or whatever it is?
I placed 7th. I think you came in 5th, right, Kev?
I came in 4th.
What do you get? What do you get for that?
200.
Some money.
Cool. Very cool.
Money.
5.
Either way, not a lot of time for all that stuff. So in the those versions, right? So there's a lot of different versions of them. ESPN also has a one and done type one. And then there's NFL.com's, which is insane. Like basically the way NFL.com's. Yeah. Do you guys know how that one works?
No.
Have you played that
Unfortunately.
one? Yeah. Where you like
the escalator.
You get escalator. So if you put guys in, and if they make it all the way to the end, they get escalated. You can switch guys out, but it's almost like it's nonsense. Why? Yeah, it's ridiculous. So anyway, in this one, you can use the guy. You can reset your lineup every week. So you really want to lean into the teams that you think are going to lose in the first week, but you have to be very careful. Sometimes those teams get crushed. So you only want to use good players off those teams if you think they're actually going to make some noise, right? So I look at it and I say, okay, the Bills, the line is 10.5 favored over the Dolphins. The 49ers, the line is 10 over the Seahawks. For me, I look at it and I say, I'm going to use guys from the Seahawks. I'm going to use guys like Kenneth Walker. I'm going to use guys like DK Metcalf. I'm going to use guys like, Waddle. I don't know. Tyreek Hill, is he healthy, Loop? Are we using him? What's going on?
We don't know yet. My guess is that he will play, yes, but
right. You don't want to get too cute. You want to balance those situations, right? So that's the first part is the beginning of this, early on, you want to go that way. You want to also lean into what teams you think are going to go deep and save some of those players. You obviously have to save some guys for championship, right? One of my favorite moves is to utilize split backfield players on teams that I think can win 1 or 2 games, but not go with the deepest. The biggest example being Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott. I have no problem starting one of Tony Pollard or Zeke Elliott in week 1, right? If they lose, at least I got to use one of them before they lost. If they win, I can still use the other one. So early on, I'm loading up on split backfield guys if possible. There's not very many of them, but Leonard Fournette and Rachaad White, right?
I was just
could
going to
use-
ask you that, Coop. Would you use them in the same lineup? Would you use one Buck and one Cowboy so that way, hey, you use one or the other and you have one moving on?
with that setup, I mean, it's perfect for because you're going to have at least the other one down the road. You know, where it hurts you is if they both make it to is if one of those teams makes it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, which both teams are capable. I think the Cowboys are capable. Tom Brady, obviously, you can't count that guy out.
Good luck with Gio Bernard in your championship game.
Yeah, then you get the Nard dog in there. But the thing is, you don't have to start. That's the beauty of it, is that if I start Rachaad White this week, or if I start Leonard Fournette this week, that I don't have to use Rachaad White next week. I can save him for the championship.
That's the key right there, because they'll probably be playing San Francisco the following week if they win, right? So if they play San Francisco the following week, depending on if there's an upset, whatever. So let's say you have them playing San Francisco next week. You don't start them that week. Then you start them against Philly, who you can't pass against, but you can kind of run against. So I like that.
Exactly. Cool. Exactly. So you want to lean into, you want to sneak by with RBs, lean into wide receivers. With tight end, you know, it's difficult to gauge those. But for me, I'm trying to pick tight ends on teams that I think are going to lose. You know what I mean? It's and especially when there's elite tight ends in matchups that are close. So, you know, like think about, Ingram, exactly. Ingram or Mark Andrews, I'm starting week 1 because Mark Andrews is a -6. They're 6.5 point dogs. I want to use Mark Andrews in case I don't get a chance to use him again. So that's where I'm going week 1 because, you know, he's all they got and he's probably going to lose. So that's kind of the trick on that. Just use the best tight end on a team you think are going to lose, because you don't want to get stuck with some of these teams that don't even have a viable tight end. Like, I hate to say it, Luke, but like Mike Gesicki, Durham Smythe, I don't know about that, bro.
Hey, Mike Gesicki got targeted a lot by Skylar Thompson. So if it is Skylar again, he might get the targets at least.
Sick. Yeah,
I'd rather have Skylar White than Skylar Thompson.
But the good news is that there's plenty of awesome tight ends. You look at the top 5 tight ends in fantasy football. Kelsey's in the playoffs. Kittle's in the playoffs. Hawkinson's in the playoffs. Andrews in the playoffs. Evan Ingram's in the playoffs. You know, all the super mega stars are in the playoffs. So there's plenty of tight ends to go around. You can just start studs the whole way, really. Like, I'm basically what I'm doing is, you know, I'm probably going to start Kelsey in the next round, just knowing that I trust some of the other guys, because I don't want to be caught, you know, not getting a chance to use Kelsey. So that's where I'm at with those one and dones. Like, you know, lean into the killer matchups and use the studs on the guys in close games. Like, if the Chargers go on the road here and 1.5 against the Jaguars, I'm using Austin Eckler now, because I don't want a situation where I never got a chance to use them. So that's my strategy on those, and I'm awesome at it. So you should follow that, and maybe you'll win the Baby Bowl, but probably not, because I'm going to win.
How are you going to win if I'm winning?
Maybe Kev, maybe one time you could slingshot me in for a win.
Exactly. But
shake and bake, baby.
Oh man, Loop, are you in any of these playoff leagues?
Yes, I'm in the doing the Baby Bowl. Also in done several of these underdog drafts, the Mitten and the Gauntlet. Yep. So those are six team snake drafts. So you don't just have your pick of anyone; you do have to draft against other people. But it's the same thing. You want the guys who are playing the longest, or who you expect are going to play the longest. So try to build, a lot of stack building in those, and trying to get your AJ Brown with your Jalen Hurts, or your Burrow and your Chase, those types of things. So it's fun to do those, and just see what types of lineups you can build, and what teams you end up with, trying to go the distance in some of your drafts. So
have you done any yet?
Yeah, I have.
And who'd you get? Like, which way'd you go?
So, I've done a few now, but the quarterbacks are going early. So your Josh Allen and your Stephon Diggs, you're trying to get those guys like back to back at the 1-2 turn, or your Hurts and AJ Brown, and the Bengals guys and things like that. Exactly. So and then later on, so if you're able to get that going early, then later on you have some of your teams that may or may not progress. So if you want to get your Herbert and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams stack, and if you're going to try to bet on the Chargers, or Brady, Evans, Godwin type thing. So there are lots of ways that you can build it. So the heavy guys go pretty early. So you're not going to get both Bills and Bengals most likely, or not both the Bills and the Eagles or something. So but later on you can build some pretty cool lineups. So Jaguars are cheap.
Am I about to jump in the big mitten right now, dude?
Oh, the big mitten.
The big mitten. That's the $250. Is that the $250?
Yeah. That's not too bad, dude.
What I love
only 900 people, 250, 900 people. You get some big, less than 1,000 people. Winner gets 40 G's. Whoa.
Wow. Get that mitten, kid.
Whoa.
Get that mitten, kid. No, I love how we talk about 3 different styles right there, right? Like just those 3 that you guys talked about. Like Loop's talking about drafting a team and building a team and looking at stacks. Kev's talking about, one player from each team. So you have to try to predict the future and what's going to happen. Coop's talking about the opposite. Yeah, you have to predict the future, but you want to pick guys from losing teams so that you could use them and move on to the next team. So there's so many different ways you can continue to play fantasy football in the playoffs, and they're all fun. They're all unique. They're all fun. They're all involving strategy and thinking about it. I'm certainly going to be playing the Baby Bowl. We love Rob Norton, friend of the show, friend of the Besties, supporting the cause, and it's a fun tournament. I also have one that I play. My friend Rob runs a league. This is our 8th year running now, and it's very similar to the one that Kev's talking about, only you don't throw 2 teams out. You have 14 positions, and it's not as easy to fill because it's 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 3 tight ends. Then you have a flex that's a running back and a wide receiver, and then you have a flex that's a wide receiver or a tight end. So you have to fill 14 spots with 1 player from each of the 14 playoff teams. So as I did this, like you said, Kev, that's how I did it. First, I drew out, okay, what's my bracket look like? What do I think is going to be? And then I said, okay, how I've had success in this in the past is picking my 3 quarterbacks and trying to have at least the 2 Super Bowl quarterbacks. Because I've won that and I've come in second, third in that a couple of times. It's 8 years. I've made it pretty far in most of those years because I've picked the right quarterbacks and I've had power players remaining at the end. The year I won it, I had both quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. So it was nice. And that's why with this one, I said, okay, I got to pick, 2 guys from one side that I think can make it, 1 guy from the other. So strategy-wise for that, it became tough for me because when I got to teams like Miami, when I got to teams like Seattle, Coop, you talked about it before. You have to kind of differentiate a little bit, right? Everyone's going to say, okay, Seattle, you got, Walker, DK, or Lockett. Who you going to pick, right? Well, Walker's running up against the San Francisco defense. I don't love that matchup. And if you think they're going to lose, you don't really want to just trot Walker out for a mediocre performance. You don't know which wide receiver is going to be. Plus, I got to fill 3 tight end spots. You talked about punting tight end in some of your leagues. Am I throwing Cody Parkinson in my lineup? Like, these are the things that I have to go through, right? Because then when I think about it, if I put Evan Engram in, if I put Mark Andrews in, do I want to use Kelsey or do I want to use Mahomes? I can't use them both, right? Do I want to use Hawkinson or do I want to use Jefferson? I can't use them both. So maybe I say, hey, I want Mahomes in my lineup. I want Jefferson in my lineup. Cody Parkinson, get me some points before you go home. So
that's his birthday yesterday, dude. You got to do it.
Kind of playing a pretty big snap share, Cody Parkinson.
And he's looking his way.
Sorry if I looked distracted there, but I was on YouTube going back to your sheet you held up, and I just took a screenshot of it that has all your notes for what you're doing with your leagues. So I'm going to use it against you in Baby Bowl.
Got him.
Yeah. So you have Cincy versus Philly in the Super Bowl? I
do. I have Cincy versus Philly in the Super Bowl.
I can see all the notes in the bottom of your screen too. That's espionage. That's how you win the Baby Bowl, folks. Yeah, it's still there. It's on YouTube. I have it paused. I have it
espionage. Yeah,
I have it screenshotted.
Nice. I love it. Now I'm gonna switch it up just to get you. No,
you're gonna have to, dude. You're gonna have to.
I'm not. But that has nothing to do with my Baby Bowl strategy. This is my I don't know. What do you call this?
Has everything to do with it.
Yeah. Deflect.
No, but I mean, honestly, guys, I'm a little.
This is. I haven't pulled an espionage move like this since I texted your wife to ask what your favorite flavor pie was, so I can steal it in the Thanksgiving draft.
Yeah, you did, you son of a bitch.
Play for keeps, bro. I'm
So I
like
do
George.
have a
I'm like George
question.
Hallis out here.
I have a question for you guys because this is where my head was at, right? So like Mahomes, Diggs, and Parkinson, or Allen, Lockett, and Kelsey.
Al Lockett, Kelsey.
Yeah, that's to me.
The presumptive
yes.
MVP is going to be chalk. That's what I'm weighing in FFPC contests where you have Mahomes and you have Kelsey, especially with it being tight end premium. So,
That's a key
like, I'll
too.
just
This
throw it
is
out
not
there.
tight end premium.
I might fade both. I might fade
Yeah.
both Mahomes and Kelsey in that contest.
Tyler Lockett's back up to 80% snap share, so he's good to go. I can't believe that dude's playing with a surgically repaired hand. What a savage, dude.
Yeah.
What an animal.
He's
He's a gamer, man.
And they're
DeMarco-
such on the same
I'm
page
s-
too, him and Gino.
Yeah.
Him and Gino Gino just drops it right in the bucket exactly where Lockett is. They're right here. They're right
Man,
here.
if fantasy receipts was still going, I'd have to read a paper. Geno Smith
Gino,
What
dude.
happened to those
burning
guys,
out with
man?
the energy of 1,000 suns, right?
Big gremlin energy. They tried to write him off, but he ain't right back.
Yeah. He ain't tweet back either, I guess.
So wait, fantasy receipts is done?
He hasn't. I don't even know who it is. Hasn't tweeted in like a month, I think. Maybe a little
Oh wow,
less.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, yeah, you're right. Over a month, dude. And he
Fly too close to the sun.
What
I know. That
Good
account
man.
got pretty big pretty quick.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What?
It is
Whatever.
what it is.
All bad things come to an end, right?
We're safe. We're safe again.
My
I
stomach
was like,
is safe
please don't
from,
hurt
getting
me.
pumped and getting sent to the ER.
So we talked about the different games we could play, right? We talked about how we could still have fun playing fantasy. Obviously, you have DFS that you could play also. So there's so many ways that you could stay involved. We're going to be here talking about it. We want to talk about the strategy behind it, though, because like you guys said, you have to kind of predict what you think is going to happen, right? Because if you, like Loop said, if you're trying to stack and you can get cheap Jaguars stack, but they don't win a game, well, your cheap stack just kind of went out the window. So we got to try to figure out who's going to be there at the end of this all. So who do you have as your AFC champion? Who do you have as your NFC champion? Start with you, Loop, because I know it ain't Miami. So who's going to be in the Super Bowl?
How dare you? Number one.
Hmm.
No, it's not. I am going to go with the Bills and the Eagles. That's fairly chalky, but yeah, I feel like when you look at them up and down, especially with what the Bills are playing for now, it seems destined to me that they're going to be there. The Chiefs are definitely going to put up a fight for sure, but I think that those are the two teams that I would say right now if I had to pick.
Anybody in the chat also definitely chime in. Let us know what your Super Bowl matchup is. Let us know who you think is going to be playing in the big dance. Coop, who do you got?
I got the Bengals and the Eagles.
Oh, because you
I'm just
copied it off my screen?
I'm just kidding, dude. Those are terrible picks. I think that I think that coming out of the AFC,
Terrible.
I think coming out of the AFC, it's gonna be the Chiefs, man. They're just too good right now, and they're getting hot at the right time. They're getting right at the right time. Knock on wood, they're pretty healthy. And the thing is, outside of Mahomes and Kelsey, they're kind of built. They're built to sustain injuries. You know what I mean? The Bills tried to catch up in that sense, adding John Brown and adding Cole Beasley so they would have depth. John Brown proving to be more than depth apparently. But like the Chiefs right now, like they could lose a running back and they would still have a pretty good running back, and they could lose wide receivers. The wide receivers aren't even good in the first place. It doesn't even matter. So like the Chiefs, I think are built for long-term success and to weather the storm. Now, my other pick is not super popular. People love to hate this team, but I think that the Dallas Cowboys are a pretty complete team. They're getting Tyron Smith back at the right time. You know, they have two good running backs. They now have multiple wide receivers. They added T.Y. Hilton for a little extra depth to be their Deshaun Jackson type guy. And then their defense is awesome. So I don't see, like, everyone doubts this team. I don't see why they can't. Like, why not? You know, I sound like Derrick Rose right now. Like, why can't I be the MVP of the league? Like, why not? Like, why not?
Can't read or
Like,
write,
why not? What do you mean yesterday? What happened yesterday?
What was yesterday then? Because it wasn't like they didn't play their starters. They played their starters, and they lost to a backup quarterback making his first start. So
Sam Howell's a stud, bro. Sam Howell's a stud. No, I'm not worried at all about that. I'm not worried about
Would
that.
have won 15 games had they started them.
Yeah, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be just fine. And you know, they want to, like, there are so many of these teams that when you look at the actual odds makers in Vegas and stuff, they have no shot. Like, the Cowboys at least have a chance. You know, I could easily, if I really wanted to, I could just be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be the Bills and the Eagles and just pick the chalk easy teams, like some people. You know what I mean? Like, I could just do that if I wanted to. I'm gonna make fun of everyone's picks. I just need to wait and hear what Kevin's are first.
Go ahead, Kev. What are they?
Dumb.
I thought mine were going to be pretty damn chalky, honestly. I got Chiefs Niners.
It's pretty close.
You know, rematch of Super Bowl 54. But I'm looking, going through the bracket. Like, the Chiefs get to play the lowest seed, which it's I think it's Jaguars Chargers. I don't think the Ravens are going to be upsetting the Bengals, and I'm sorry, Loop. I don't think the Dolphins are going to upset the Bills. So, like, for the Chiefs to come off a bye and play the Jaguars, and then they have to play the winner of likely Bills Bengals, I think they're in a good spot playing them at home. And then you got the Niners on the other side where they likely are playing, I would say, Minnesota. I would rather play them versus either Eagles or Cowboys who are going to beat each other up. Then the Niners get to pick the bones off of those two teams. I like Niners Chiefs.
All right. And I like the Niners too. I just don't know that glass slipper is going to actually, you know,
he doesn't need to do a lot, honestly.
No, but still, though, I mean, it is a big ask to go. I mean, no matter what, the defense is great, the running game, all that kind of stuff. But
look,
but
I'm taking
to go
arrows,
and win
I'm taking
these
arrows too with this against Trey Lance, because then we're going to be talking about Brock Purdy led this damn team to a Super Bowl, and now Trey Lance is dust.
I mean, it's definitely possible with the team that they have built around him, but it's still a big ask.
Okay,
Yeah.
I took the odds from 538 of making the Super Bowl to figure out who made the most chalky picks. JB, I'm just going to tell everyone your picks are Cincinnati and the Eagles. So it looks like here that when you add up the odds, mine are Chiefs 43% and Cowboys only 11%. That comes to 54 total. We have JB's 43% for the who'd you pick? Oh, you picked the Eagles? Oh yeah. So yours might be the highest. No, you're at 62%, 48% for the Eagles and 14% for the Bengals. Then we have Loop, 34% odds for the Bills and 26% odds for the 49ers. So that puts you at 60%. The chalkiest pick here would be Mr. Kevin Tompkins. 43% for the Chiefs, 26% for the 49ers. That brings you to a total of 69. So congratulations, Kev.
Nice.
You took the chalkiest.
Chalky Studebaker, baby.
Chalky Studebaker, dude. Call me Roger Klotz.
And I do think that San Francisco will make it to the NFC Championship, Kev, but I don't think that they can get past Philly. I just think Philly is too good. I think Philly is built for this championship run, and I think they get to the Super Bowl, and depending on who they face, might even win the Super Bowl. I just that AFC might just beat up on each other enough that it lets Philly just have the edge in the Super Bowl. Because, like you said, I like the path for Kansas City, but whoever wins that Buffalo-Cincinnati game, I think can beat Kansas City and go on to play in the Super Bowl. So, yes, if you believe the team of destiny is Buffalo, it could be them. I think Cincinnati, if they get past Buffalo, has proven that they know how to beat Kansas City and can beat Kansas City. So, I mean, they've been there. They want to just take that next step forward. I don't know. I think Cincinnati, Philly is the way that I'm going to stick with it. But I would not be surprised if Kansas City gets there because, I mean, Pat Mahomes. I mean, they're playing freaking ring around the rosy against the Raiders. So
I just want to get that Bills Bengals game because the game that we didn't get for
Yeah.
obvious reasons, like getting that in the divisional. I mean, last year in the divisional game we had Bills Chiefs, and that was probably the best playoff game I've ever seen. That wasn't a Packer game.
And now we get to get Bills Bengals, hopefully, followed by Chiefs winner of that game. I mean, we could have back-to-back weeks of just nonstop excitement.
Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. We get that like for the next decade. Like that's great.
I'll tell you.
Possibly add Lawrence to that too. And
I'll tell you what I'm rooting for, guys. Here, I just remembered that back on April 16th, I put in these bets. So quite some time ago. $100 on the Vikings to win their division. So I won $280 on that. And I put $100 on the Vikings to win the NFC. And that pays out $2,000. So I change all my bets. I pick the Vikings to win everything. And to make it to the Super Bowl.
You're gonna rely on Kirk Cousins to play island games, man.
I'm just gonna hope if they win one game. If they win one game, I'm gonna start putting head.
They'll beat the Giants. I don't
think they will.
You don't think they're gonna beat the Giants?
Nope.
Come on, bet.
You don't.
Straight up bet.
I mean, I can get points with that, bro.
I know. Come on, there, Minnesota Slim. Let's go. I know you got bets.
Let's go, dude.
You know what?
I think Minnesota is the better team, but I don't know, man. I just feel like the Giants have already beat them.
What's the line?
3.
Coop, what's the line?
It's 3.
-3.
It opened at 2.5. It's at 3 right now. Is that 3?
I'll give you the point. Give it Minnesota -3. I'll give it to you.
Take it, JB. Do a bet.
$25.
I'll take it. No, forget $25. Let's do something fun. Let's do like push-ups. Push-ups on the show or something.
Loser has to unfriend.
I haven't done a push-ups in 2nd grade, dude.
Exactly. That's what it'll be fun.
Loser has to unfriend their mom on Facebook, and you can't tell her why.
My mom would be so disappointed.
My mom wouldn't have no idea because she doesn't go on Facebook. So
I just got my mom on Facebook last year, like after a really long struggle to get her on Facebook, and now she loves it. So
all right, next week,
very disappointed.
All right, next week, loser has to do the first 15 minutes of the show talking like Batman.
What Batman? Like Will Arnett? No.
You gotta do like
Robert
Pattinson Batman. The most recent
Kilmer Batman.
The darkest night you can do.
Loop like that. He snapped like Bruce Arians on that.
What do you got? Well, Loop, no matter what, has to be the Butler album.
But if we have to talk like Loop for 15 minutes.
This is 15 minutes of like Loop zooms.
Just the full zooms.
Loser has to talk like Loop for 15 minutes.
Deal?
And drink Mountain Dew.
Now, I was going to say, I have a thing of Mountain Dew back there. Be good to go.
Loop is about to say, what do I talk like?
Do we have a deal? Loop and Mountain Dews?
Do my Loop impression?
Oh, what are we doing? Are we doing the bet?
Loop and Mountain Dews +3.
What is the bet?
And $25. Come on.
All right, $25 to charity.
Let's go.
I don't
$25.
I don't need your 25.
$25 to charity.
You might actually.
$25 to charity. In 15 minutes, you talk like Batman.
No, Loop. I don't know how Batman talks.
Well, I guess you better.
How do you not know what Batman talks?
Lucky for you, he talks exactly like me.
Hey. Batman just talks like this.
He talks like Harry Connick Jr. apparently, and looks like Dwayne.
To the Fantasy Besties show. I can't do that.
That was perfect, dude. That was great.
Right,
yeah.
Fine.
The whole intro.
Batman it is.
Well, sound like Ron Perlman.
Oh man. All right. Well, it's after 8, and we have a national championship today. We don't have an NFL game, but we got some kids
that was yesterday.
That
actually, we don't talk about that.
I'm not watching that. I'm playing Call of Duty.
So, final thoughts then, Coop. Before you play some Call of Duty, what's your final thoughts for us this week? Could be football related, could be non-football related. What's your final thoughts?
Which one of you guys picked the Vikings? Kev, you picked the Vikings, right?
Yep. Are we doing the points with that too?
Kev's my best friend now.
-3 then. Okay.
+3.
No, Batman's money line.
If it's a push, we have to talk like Loop the whole show.
All right, but yeah, if they win by exactly 3, then both people have to talk. Everyone on the show talks like Loop, including me and Linda.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. Final thoughts, dude. I don't know. Shout out Auntie Coop. Look, you got any final thoughts?
No.
Very cool.
No, the regular season is over. It's hard to believe that it's already come and gone, and that we're already to this point where we're talking about setting playoff lineups and all that kind of thing. So it's been a great season. I think it's been a pretty fun season. So just looking forward to the playoffs.
F?
All I got's really Howard Bender, Dave Richard, all you guys in the Jim Brown division. I will see you next August when I take home another belt in the Jim Brown division of the Kings Classic. Also, Lovey Smith gone, Cliff Kingsbury gone. Certainly, it's was it less heralded Black Monday than most years with head coach firings and all that. But certainly, hate to see guys lose their jobs, even though Cliff Kingsbury will be sitting in his palatial mansion watching House Hunters. So definitely be interesting to see who Kyler picks as his new head coach.
It might be Coop with all that Call of Duty he's playing. I'm just saying. Coop might get the call.
Join FaZe Clan,
Call of
is on
Duty.
Cardinals head coach. Can you get me a gig? Can I be like the offensive coordinator?
I'm in, man. Yeah, for sure.
I will not punt. I
you
will
got
not run the
Xbox?
ball.
You got Xbox?
I can get one.
Well, I mean, if you want to be part of this, if you want to be part of this squad, if you want to be part of this squad,
the better console. Sorry,
because we're changing it. We're redoing everyone's contracts to add clauses that say you have to play Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't know about
And
all that.
study hours are out.
Wait till you have kids, Coop. Tell me how much Call of Duty you're gonna be playing with.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I got to play right now, dude.
the only Call of Duty you're gonna be dealing with is the
Me
freaking
Mansion's waiting for me.
Call of Duty. I get it.
Huggies.
But Kev, I'm glad you brought up the coaches because my final thought is Raheem freaking Morris better get a job, because if Sean McVay steps down, there is no better candidate to slide in to the team that he's already the successful defensive coordinator of and to become a head coach. But even if it's not in LA, Raheem Morris deserves another shot, because I say it every freaking year at this time. When he was sprung into the head coaching duties in Tampa Bay, the guy was never even a coordinator. He was not ready for it. He has learned the game. He's become one of the better defensive coordinators in the league, and I think he is now ready for that shot. So Raheem Morris, get a freaking head coaching job this year. Somebody hire that man.
There you go, dude. Unbiased take from JB Barry. He likes the head coach who had coached at Hofstra, his alma mater, and then coached at Tampa Bay, his favorite football team. Completely unbiased take from JB Barry. What, did he grow up in the town you grew up in too? Like,
No.
do you know him personally? Like,
He was his gym teacher.
he's from New Jersey, so not even that far. Not even that far.
That's like a literally down the Lincoln Tunnel.
Unbiased take, dude. Hofstra Buccaneers coach calling for him to get a job.
You can't tell me he hasn't done a great job.
Hofstra multiple times as the coach of the Buccaneers. Yeah, no, he's great. He's awesome.
He is great. Raheem freaking Morris, baby. Let's
Get
go.
him in. Get him in there. Get him in there. All right, I gotta go. I gotta go do some shooting.
Well, thank you for everybody who did come and hang out with us today. We had a fun show. We talked about some playoffs. We're looking forward to playing our playoff leagues. Baby Bowl, definitely. If you haven't seen it, check out Rob Norton or Fantasy Impact Today's tweet about it. Definitely jump in there. Thank you for Razzball for hosting us all season long. We're not going anywhere. We're still going to be here. We're going to be back. So thank you to Razzball. Check out the Razzball YouTube page, razzball.com, at Fantasy Besties on Twitter. For Kevin, Linda, Coop, and Loop, I'm JB Barry. We're the Fantasy Besties. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
I was born in the darkness.
Not bad, man.